Well, hey, look at me finishing up start of the stream. I'm not going to do any more videos tonight. Okay, just finishing up a couple of things. I wanted my strainer, which is around here. Just put it's mostly water I'm putting in my drink there. That won't hurt me. Famous last words. But there we go. Done. Donezo. Arg. And now I get to sit down. Look, that's all for anyone who's watching back later. No one's here live yet, and that's fine. That means I get to settle down with a drink, which is nice. Almost feel like just playing a video 5 minutes. Like, probably find if I go into my own YouTube, because I've been looking at old AIDSy videos, there's probably a random AIDSy video YouTube's going to recommend to me. It's like, well, you're watching other ones of this. Do you want to watch some more? It's got a bunch of my cocktail videos there. What am I doing? Actually, I'm mildly surprised. It's had a bunch of my cocktail videos and none of the AIDSy ones show up yet. It's quite surprising to me. I really thought it would show me an AIDSy video if I just scrolled through. I mean, it might yet, really. That hasn't actually gone through that many, not when you consider how much is on YouTube, but I'm really surprised at how many of my cocktail videos show up and not a video of AIDSy. There you go. That's a whole thing for me. I really wanted it to auto-suggest one, and it's really not doing it. So I'm just going to look one up, okay? Look up AIDSy Code Grey. We won't put all of Code Grey on. All right, I think we'll do that one. Don't think I want to put a 20-minute one on. Oh, the day Adrian punched a nun. That's always good. Hey, Mega Leech. Sorry, I was just going to, while I do a couple things, as a fill-in, I was going to play an AIDSy video. You know, I'm kind of, the 1-minute ones are too short. The 20-minute one's probably too long. 9-minute video, is that too long? Day Adrian punched a nun? I mean, I think I'll do that one. and that'll give me enough time to do things. All right, so I want to present this. Share the screen. Do that. There we go. And I'll just do this. All right, Megaleech. So if anyone asks, I am really here. If they come up in the chat, I'm just playing this for a little bit. Assuming the all-conquering glory of a majestic run at the comedy festival.
Big sum, but yeah. Okay.
We're right there. We'll say that's happening.
Yeah, right. Why not? Yeah.
We'll talk again in a couple of weeks.
Yeah,
see how that went. But are you thinking beyond it yet, or is that dangerous? Is it just be in the festival for the festival time?
No, it's not dangerous to think beyond. What's dangerous is to think beyond the show that you're in, right? So yeah, I mean, I'd like to take this somewhere else, definitely. But each night that you're doing it, you've got to be in it that night. Yeah. So for the hour that you're up there doing it, be nowhere else but in front of these people doing this show right now. You know, we've got three weeks of opportunities, you know, between 18 and 23 shows to have a proper go. And yeah, we'll give it a proper go and see what we can't do.
So this is, I guess, the culmination of a lot of things.
It's 10 years.
Yeah.
It's 10 years. I started writing this show 8 years ago. And the trouble with it was it never ended. It never had an ending point. It never had a natural finish. And now it does. Now it has a bit that goes, this is a recovery. This is a better. You know, trouble with arthritis is it doesn't get better. And you can't leave an audience with doesn't get better. Not in a comedy show. But this is a great opportunity to go. It's bad, it gets worse, it gets better. And so that's why this is the culmination of that. And this is why we can finish it now. Because it recovered. Which you gotta love that. You gotta love that.
It is good to talk about, I guess, both nasty chronic illness followed up by terrifying acute illness and still leave the audience on an up.
Leave them on an up. Leave them on a high. That's right. God damn it. And they should be. Because they should be. They should be. Especially if you recover from that shitful acute illness. And especially if you live. Yeah. Everyone wins. Really? In the end? Didn't give it a smoking though.
That's for the sequel.
Yeah, it's the sequel. I didn't give it a smoking. The many psychotic deaths. Oh! Yeah. The only other time I really tried giving up smoking, I punched out a nun.
I'm sure she asked for it.
No. I was going nuts down in the street in Bathurst and she just grabbed my elbow and I turned around and thumped her. It was like, not cool. I was immediately arrested. And
really?
Yeah, who knew? Taken in the police station and the duty psychologist said, give him a smoke. And I calmed her right down and said, yeah, he's okay. Oh, no. Happily, the nun didn't press charges.
That would have been an embarrassing court case.
For everyone,
for
really.
Everyone.
For everyone, really. Yeah.
Next on the docket, punched a nun.
Yeah, exactly. God. Except I did have to, she did ask if I would do some volunteer work, and I did happily do some volunteer work. Yeah. Anyway, that's ancient history.
That was in another country, and besides the
Yeah.
wench is dead.
Sorry, exactly. It was another country a long time ago. Yeah.
But actually, that's not 100 miles from something else I wanted to say. The way the show works now, it lends itself to so many things. It is, in and of itself, a funny, entertaining, exhilarating roller coaster ride of a show. But there is that, human spirit triumph element that I can see some people, treating it as a potential community service. And there is even the, I guess, morality tale might be the wrong thing, but the lesson in the value of our health service.
The value of our health service is inestimable. It's incredible. We have an incredible health service. Incredible. We have an incredible culture and an incredible system, and people don't get it. I was today outside the doctor's because I've got to go and see my GP fairly regularly. So outside the doctor's having a smoke. This bloke comes up and he gives me the organ recital of his injuries, and I had to remind him. He said that he'd gone to the hospital and he had to wait 4 hours. And I said, yes, you do have to wait 4 hours, but it's free. It's free of charge. It costs you nothing. And if it's going to cost you nothing, guess what? You're going to wait, And this guy was so used to the idea that someone would fix him up that he didn't even catch the idea that, if you want to pay for it, yeah, sure. You have it done straight away. And, it's, if you wanted to live in America, guess what? You get to pay for it. So, mind you, they just changed. They just got their new health system in.
And that is an interesting coincidence. We look at the US now kicking and screaming towards a very pale imitation of the first step along the way to a vaguely decent health service. And I can't help but imagine the reactions of a large amount of Americans if you were to explain, I got $7 million worth of healthcare for free.
For free. Exactly. And people say, oh, was it really $7 million? And because, I add in things like the building. I add in things like the non-consumables, things that they'll use again. And they go, well, that's not really reasonable because the building was always there. And I go, no, building wasn't always there. At some point, someone had to put their hand in their pants and pay for a building. At some point, someone had to go and make a bed. At some point, someone had to go and, make all this stuff and deliver it. Yeah. Even if they do use that stuff again, someone had to pay for it, and it was you. And so I go, I'm just stoked that they spent all that on me for no other reason than give him a go, have a go. He might come good, and it's this whole cultural thing we've got going. Well, it might come good. Give it a go, might come good. At the end of the day, you spend $7 million on, and what you get at the end of it is essentially an unemployed comic, right? Is it worth it? Well, I think it is. And the culture that we're in says, it might come good, might be all right. Spend it, we'll see what happens. It'll be okay. And at the end of the day, might still come good.
Yeah, well, this is the country that invented the form of gambling that is essentially, maybe it will, maybe it won't. 2 up.
2 up. Could do.
Yeah, I reckon either that or that.
Yeah, pick one.
It's worth a punt, Yeah,
exactly. 50%, that's good odds.
Okay, that ending took me by surprise a little. But I'm here. Hello, Megaleech and Robot Man Greg and Kirsten. Hello. Just realising I'm looking at it funny. It's easier for me to look straight at it if I put it there. There you go. Oh, now I'll adjust a little. No, that way. There. Fridge Mimsy. Immortalized. Hey, Safa. How bad was the rain for you? It wasn't like a brutal storm or anything here, but geez, it rained for an hour or so. I think, as usual, we might have missed the worst of it here in Melbourne, but it was pretty serious. So I've got a whole bunch of rums lined up. So pouring where you are, yeah, Kirsten. I'll see what it looks like now, but the rain front on the radar was hundreds of kilometers. Okay, it's mostly past us now. But yeah, the rain swell was like longer than the state of Victoria. It was hundreds of kilometers. Just this solid wall of rain that was hundreds of kilometers long. So it took about an hour to pass over us. Ah, right. Yes, need no more rain because the vintage. Yes, a lot of primary producers are quite worried about there being too much rain. Yes. Oh, yeah, again, I think you got worse wind too, Safa. It was a bit windy here. I don't know that it was 45k, but it was a bit windy for like an hour or two before the rain actually got here. And then it rained for a solid hour, and it has passed now. But yeah, it was not a particular. It was this huge rain front, and it wasn't particularly fast moving. So yeah. All right, so I'm going to do rum comparison. I was going to make myself an old fashioned. I thought I could make one with whiskey, or I've got a new rum. I could make a rum old fashioned. I mean, that sounds good. What bitters would be the question? Like tiki bitters? I mean, why not? Yes, Kirsten, it is like blanket on couch weather. I agree. And so for dinner, I had leftovers, chicken from a Korean place that we got last night. And I had leftovers tonight. Really good fried chicken from a Korean place. Yum-o. So, yes, taking the easy way out for dinner tonight. All right, I'm thinking I'm going to make a rum old-fashioned. Got to find my tiki bitters. Where are my tiki bitters at? I'm going to straighten up my drink card. Seriously, where are they? Looking at, I forgot I had lime bitters. Man, I have a lot of bitters. Wait, are my tiki bitters up here? They are. I was about to say no, they're not, but they are. I'll explain why I couldn't find them. All right. My new El Dorado 15-year-old rum. And for sugar, I am going to use my spiced apple sugar syrup. And I want... All right. Got my jigger. Oh, wait, I want a skewer because I want to put a cherry in there. And yes, for this Korean fried chicken, streets ahead of KFC. They do it in a few different styles. Your classic, which I got some of, and this honey soy version, which I fucking love. I've got that too. They do a few other styles as well, but those are the two that I get. Yep, that smells like. Ooh. Yep, that smells like rum. Just kind of burnt molasses aroma. Oh wait, I have to put this here. So don't forget. A rum tasting setup. Alrighty. So, little bit of sugar here. So if you like Korean fried rice. This place doesn't actually do fried rice. There's another thing. Young Mr. Angry got beef bulgogi, which I like, and a noodle thing that he likes. I had the chicken. Very good. So I had that for dinner 2 nights in a row, basically. Just a little bit of tiki bitters because it's fairly strongly flavored. And do my favorite orange peel. Where's my peeler? Hiding over here. Fair enough. No, wait, that's a pair of scissors. Where's my fucking peeler? Seriously, where's my... Oh, it's here. All right. Stop panicking. It's right here. Don't know what you were all so worried about. Oh, man, I love the smell of citrus oils. Oh, I cut that a bit deep, actually. It's a bit of pith on the back of it. See if I can get some of that off. Let me see. Can I? Oh, there we go. That's how we do it. That's how we do it. That's good because that can just make the drink bitter, and we don't want that. Peel off some pith. I am taking the pith. Ha ha! Humor. Safra, is it better to drink alcohol hot or cold weather? No. I Cry Havoc, how you doing, mate? I am presently making myself a rum old fashioned. And because I'm a classy motherfucker, I am going to add a cherry. Got my cherry jar and stab. Ha! First go. I'm a professional. I am a fucking professional. Okay, so that's in there. That's in there. And I'm just making it in the glass. Oh, Jesus. You muddled cherries? You're doing, what's that? That's a Wisconsin style sour, which is not how I do it. I just have the cherry on a skewer. So it's just spirit sugar syrup, which is a very special sugar syrup I made. And I used Bitterman's Tiki Bitters. Orange bitters is a good choice, though. And I do a bit of orange peel, and I keep the cherry on a skewer, and I eat it later. Ah, nice. Bartending in Nashville, Tennessee. Kirsten, still unpacking. Okay, well, I'm here to provide you some background entertainment while you do the unpacking. Yeah, so Cry Havoc, the muddled cherry. Although you didn't say muddled orange as well, because that's really how they do a Wisconsin style old fashioned. They muddle the cherries and some orange. Whereas I just put a twist of orange in there, and I like to keep the cherry on a skewer. I like, over the course of an evening, in a perfect night, I'll have more than one drink. And I like maybe for the cherry to absorb a bit of flavor, and then I eat the cherry at the end of the night. Oh, okay, you rim the glass. Okay, interesting. So that's very close to mine, except I don't muddle the cherries. No real problem with muddling cherries. Let's see. Nice. Tullamore Dew Irish whiskey. Well, I am going to do... Okay. I think I have someone help here so I can do a blind taste test. I'm going to do rum tasting. So With me not looking, I want you to like put one in my hand, and I'm going to put them down and taste them. And I have to. The piece of paper fell off the bottom of it. Piece of paper is important. Unless you want to stay there and tell me which, but then you'd have to remember which is which. So I'm just not going to look at them. And another one. I'll just bring them all over here to save you hassle. Yeah. Okay. I shouldn't have even looked at you then.
No, you shouldn't.
All right.
Do I need to take it back?
Oh, I don't think I saw what it was, but you can take it back. See, look at this. We're doing. This is science. We're doing a blind comparison to see which ends up being my favorites when I don't know which is which. Okay, and thank you. All right, so now I'm going to taste these when looking in case I accidentally see the number on the bottom. Yep, that smells like rum. It's Oh, I do actually like the smell of rum, just that whole molasses thing that it's got going on. Slightly, what is it? Yeah, the other thing you get with rums often is a false smell of like an overripe fruit, sometimes banana, sometimes pineapple. That to me's got a little bit of banana-y in it. It's not a banana flavored rum, so. That is really sweet. Who knew when something's sugar-based that it's sweet, even when you're just still, yum. Oh, that's almost, the weirdest thing that popped into my head was watermelon. Can you get me a glass? Actually, I should have some water to rinse my palate out. I didn't prepare properly. But that's really that is. No, give it to me and I'll get the water. Give it to me and I'll get the water. Thank you very much. My chilled water. Oh. Just a little bit of peeing ASMR from the water. Okay, so that was nice. Ooh. This one, not as much on the nose as the previous one. Not as sweet as the other one. So it's not bad, and it's down to your palate, but I prefer the first one, which was a little bit sweeter, and had a more interesting nose as well. Rinse the palate. What's this one? For those playing at home, they're 2 Australian and 2 Caribbean rums. That's just too much. I almost poured that up my nose. Well, that's almost between the last 2 I had. Oh, it's nice. It just lingers in a really nice way, though. That's pretty good. Now, one of them is the one that I've been saying for a while is my favorite. So it'll be interesting in a blind thing if I taste it. Well, this is another one this has got much more aroma. Ooh. Man, that almost had grape on it. Yum. Okay. It's between the first one and the last one I had, which is my favorite. I'm going to do a quick comparison between them again. Yeah, it's very banana-y, that one. And this one's a bit more floral to mine. I'm really shit with tasting notes, but oh my God, that's beautiful and light and sweet. And Okay, top guess. The first, no, not guess. The first one's my favorite out of these four. My guess is this is the Eldorado 15-year-old, number 4. No, that's number 4. This is the Archie Rose fancy.
Is that your favourite?
No, second favorite probably. 3. What's 3? Ah, that's my favorite. Okay, my favorite is my favorite. The what do we call it? Diplomatico Reserva. Okay, so this one is number 2. So this is okay. So this is the Eldorado 15-year-old. That's actually. Oh yeah, I now it's like power of suggestion almost. It's like, yeah, no, you can taste that's aged. It's got these darker flavors, almost dark chocolate, even this weird tobacco, like not in a negative way, but it's that sort of earthy thing. And okay, so this is the number 1. So that's the Bundaberg blend. This is a special Bundaberg. Yeah, that's probably my least favorite. It's not terrible. Ooh, actually, it lingers really nicely. The lingering taste is better than the initial taste. Well, I don't hate any of them, but I kind of feel pleased that my favorite is still my favorite. The Eldorado 15, which a few people tipped I would really like because I like the Diplomatico, it sort of came in at 3rd. And the Archie Rose Fancy Molasses Rum, which had been my favorite Australian rum, was 2nd out of those 4. So there you go. All right, thank you, Mrs. Angry, helping me out with that taste test. But that was fun. My favorite is still my favorite. So, and I did not pick, in a blind taste, I did not pick which was the 15-year-old rum. So, there we go. Also, I'm going to just rinse my palate once more. And then I have my old fashioned. I like doing that when I get new bottles, compare them, particularly a blind comparison, and see. Oh, God, I've still got that old comment up there that I accidentally hit, I think. Safa, I don't know that there's such a thing as a professional cocktail taster, but in good bars, the trusted staff get together and workshop cocktail recipes. Safa, I did actually consider doing it for my cocktail channel, but it was too difficult to set up. You know what? I might still do it because it would be funny if I did the same test and got a different result. Because here's the thing, it's been shown again and again and again with alcohol, with people who think they know, what's the good, they only drink the top quality stuff. In blind taste tests, experts can regularly be fooled into picking cheaper beverages over the most expensive. Safa, it does sound like fun. I think it's in the Death & Co book. There's a description of how they do it. And I'll read it, or at least a highlight version of it. Because this is not just cocktail recipes in here. This is the ethos behind the bar and how they do it. Section on tasting and evaluating spirits. But I'm sure there's a whole section where they give an overview of how they test cocktails. I'll see if I can find it. It's a great fucking book. I might read the front half of it again. mainly consult it for recipes these days because they have great recipes. Let me see. All right, section on bitters, juices, garnishes. Collaborations. They've worked with distillers. Section on ice. Building a drink. I think this is the bit I wanted. Okay, tools, mixing vessels, shakers, strainers, measurers, other tools and gadgets, glassware, technique. I really need to be able to stir properly. Yes, Kirsten, Aldi regularly wins awards. Actually, Saf, it's interesting. My dad was mostly a beer guy, but he would occasionally have some sort of liqueur or something in the house, but not often. Stirring, shaking. Yeah, this is just everything, like everything you need to know. It's such a good book. Creating new classics. Okay, no, this is it. Okay, so they all sit around Monday morning. Dave and a group of bartenders. A rugged, sleep-deprived bunch, several of whom have left the bar 5 hours ago. Shuffle in. They get sausage and egg sandwich, black coffee, bottles of water, a few battered recipe-filled notebooks. Okay. So someone goes, Tyson says, the idea to combine bourbon, port, and aquavit, lemon juice and cane syrup. When you said you were combining bourbon and aquavit, I thought, what a fucking moron. But you have some affinity here. I think this can work. Needs little tweaking. What's your spec? Tyson says, 1.5 Eagle Rare, 3/4 Tawny Port, half Kronstadt aquavit, 3/4 lemon, half cane egg white. Joaquin says, have you tried lime? Aged flavors might play better with, Linny aquavit might play better with Eagle Rare. So makes it with aquavit. Gillian says, now it tastes like fruit and nut chocolate bar. I think it's well balanced and tastes good, but needs one more thing to stand out. Maybe nutmeg? Tyson graced nutmeg over it. Brad says, I like the first one better. It was flowery. Cane syrup was overwhelming. Try it with simple. Wycombe says, it's also got a bit of a chalky texture. Weird thing can happen with egg white drink. If it feels chalky, actually need to add more whites to make it less so. Tyson repeats the first version of the drink, this time with simple syrup and more egg white. Dave says, it's an interesting idea, but there are still some kinks to work out. Let's try it again. So there's a whole section where they describe to you the tasting process when they're considering a new cocktail to add to the bar. That book is so fucking good. It's technique, it's understanding everything. It's even the business of setting up a bar. And then there's a shit ton of really good cocktail recipes in there. Anyway, keeping shit simple here. Rum old fashioned. Oh, wow, that's good. Oh, man. I made this with the El Dorado and my spiced apple brown sugar syrup. Oh, that kicks ass. That is fucking great. That is really good. Yum. Yep. So I I had resisted buying any bottles for a couple of months. And then I was just like, fuck it. I'm in withdrawal. I haven't had new bottles. And I've bought, was it 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5? 5 bottles in the last 2 weeks. So the 2 rums I was trying out there, an aged apple brandy from France, Calvados, Grappa, and one still to come, which I don't feel bad about because it's just a base bottle. It's Reposado tequila because I used the last of my Reposado tequila, so I don't have any tequila. Oh no, I have Añejo tequila over there, which is the aged tequila. Mm. Oh my fucking god, that is good though. I feel like I haven't had a rum old fashioned in a little while, and that one is really good. I'm not really. It's really funny because you get serious people like because I'm sort of in the mixing drinks. I think people expect me to be the type of guy who sips spirits neat, and I almost never do. Not for pleasure. I normally only drink the spirits neat to do a comparison to see what it tastes like in comparison to other videos. Ooh, nice. Sorry, just sharing. Megalich, yours was nice. I'm just going to show it because you shared that picture with me. It looks cool. That looks cool. So that's your new gin and raspberry tonic and orange syrup. That looks really good. And what you do, you with drying your own garnishes, those orange slices, that looks really good. Nice job, man. Nice job. I am very rarely motivated to make flamboyant garnishes. Okay, I am in fucking love with this drink though. It's really yummy. Yeah, so I don't hate that. Oh yeah, that was that Megalich, was that like you made a syrup with those slices? So that's a very sugary slice of orange, if I remember rightly. That's what you did. So nice, very nice. So, yes, like orange candy, great for the diabetes. Very tasty. Yeah, I often like if I make a syrup from orange peel, the oleosaccharum, I often save the peels. They go a bit funny because the sugar leaches all the oil, not all, it leaches a lot of the oils out of the peel, and the peels absorb a bit of sugar, leave them for Mrs. Angry, and sometimes like she puts them in a hot chocolate or something. Sometimes she dries them out and then grinds those up so there's a powder, which I could use as a cocktail garnish. I could use to rim a glass. Just dried, powdered, sugared citrus makes a really good rim on a cocktail. It's great for things like a sour and whatnot. So, oh man, that's fucking yummy. But then again, I have a weakness for the old-fashioned with almost any spirit in it. Yeah, Safra, it's a hot chocolate kind of day, dude. It really is. I'm warming myself with a nice rum. I don't think that's not particularly high proof, is it? So this is my newest bottle, the one that I made this old-fashioned with. Eldorado 15. It's aged 15 years. From Guyana. 43% ABV. So kind of normal proof. Slightly higher, like a base ABV is usually about 40%. All right, so the Demerara region has established a reputation over the last 300 years for producing the best rums in the world. This rum has been laid down in oak barrels for at least 15 years. then artfully blended. So it's actually multiple different rums that they've blended for you to savor and enjoy. Full nose, packed with dark coffee, candied orange, almonds, dark chocolate, pepper, and rich vanilla. I mean, I get that, particularly like the pepper and the coffee and chocolate flavors. So, best in the world, but in my blind test, I only rated this third. This one has long been my favorite for just sipping, which I don't do. Diplomatico Reserva. This is from Venezuela. So a lot of the great rums are from the Caribbean or South America. And this is from Venezuela. 40% ABV. Yum. And this, in a blind taste, was still my favorite. But second was this one, which last couple times I've tasted this has been my favorite Australian rum, Archie Rose's Fancy Molasses Rum. Distilled in 2019. There you go. Angel Never Dies. Hello. I am fine. It has been a hot minute, but I hope you've been fine. Jesus Christ, what's happening to the weather in your area, Safa? 13 feels like 7. My God. Now I'm compelled to see what the Bureau is saying where I am. What are they saying? Here it's 13, feels like 12. You must have a fucking brisk wind blowing where you are, man. So, Angel, I'm having a bit of a rum night tonight because I got a couple new rums. I made myself a rum old fashioned, which I am very much in love with. And were it legal under the laws of God and man, I'd marry it. And you know what? I might anyway. Conduct the ceremony on the high seas, captain of my own ship where I make my own rules. So, Angel, you've been great. Got a girlfriend, new job. It's all coming up, Angel. Nice. Suffer, drink to the wind. Oh, my friend, lot of whiskeys over here. And I, too, if I was restricted for the rest of my life to one spirit, I would pick whiskey. Absolutely. Just that I got some new rums, so I've been doing rum tastings. Compared my 2 new ones to my 2 favorites. And in fact, my 2 favorites came out in front of the 2. But I mean, it's all sort of shades. I think none of them were terrible. I didn't like the 2 new ones. I don't get, no, I regret buying that. No, they're good. Ooh, okay. What's that? Get Crack from Denmark. A salted caramel whiskey. Oh, interesting. God, sometime in the midst of, I don't know if it was the first or second year of COVID, I bought an Australian, I think they were saying it was a chocolate whiskey, and I had high hopes for it and I was disappointed. But I did make my own liqueur where I made, it's basically this syrup that I make with sugar, apples, and cooking spices. Kicks ass. And then make a liqueur that's 3/4 spirit and 1/4 that syrup. And I made it once with whiskey and once with rum. And they were both fucking awesome. And in fact, in both cases, I used a whiskey that was and a rum that was, they weren't terrible, but I didn't love them. But then I made a liqueur with them and it fucking kicked ass. It's really good. Okay, so Crack from Denmark is made by a stand-up comedian. Tried Henny, tried Jack Daniels, tried a whole bunch. It's good. Okay. Again, Hennessy, Jack Daniels, quite different. I've actually got a fucking sample pack up there of some of the upmarket Jack Daniels. I've got to do a taste test on them at some point. Do a video. Where is it? I bought it ages ago and I haven't used it. I've got to do it. So 5 different Jim Beams. Sorry, Jack Daniels, not Jim Beams. What am I talking about? Gentleman Jack, Tennessee Honey. Jack. So I think it's like one standard Jack Daniels, old number 7. Then Tennessee Fire. So that's their version of Fireball. And then a single barrel select. So my plan is to make cocktails. So there's the bog standard Jack Daniels, and then there's the 2 really upmarket ones, and then do a blind taste test and see if I can tell the difference, or if I prefer in a blind taste. Do I prefer the what do you call it? Expensive one. I've been meaning to do that for quite a while. Oh yeah, no, Hennessy's a cognac. Yeah, I've got to, and cognac's just brandy. It's the French being wankers and saying it's got to be made from these grapes in this area and done in this way, or it's not cognac. Fine. And I got some good cognac. I've got a Hennessy over there. It's good. Ooh, Megalith, you did the Oh, okay. See, I didn't realize. I thought I heard the noise, but it looks very similar, but made with lemon. All right, so see what I mean? See how easily I was confused? There's this one. So gin and raspberry syrup and, raspberry tonic and lemon syrup. So, but the big question is, which one did you prefer, lemon or orange? Do I not have a subscribe button on Twitch? I don't. For reals, though, I don't know how Twitch works. I just multi-stream. I use an app called StreamYard to multi-stream. Most people watch me on YouTube. Some people watch me on Twitch. Some people watch me on Facebook. I do not know the ins and outs of Twitch, and my excuse is I'm too old to learn. So I'm just gonna put this back. Shit, everything's going tits up. What's it doing? Okay, that was unnecessarily distressing for me. Okay, so. Oh, thanks, Angel. You liked the new video? Thank you. Does that mean you follow the cocktail videos on YouTube? I have fun doing those. I have, if we're talking about the cocktail channel, I have been managing to upload pretty much every day, either a short or a longer video. All right, so the orange was yeah, cool. I like orange sherbets. If I had to choose in a cocktail with lemon juice or orange juice, I'd always go lemon juice. Orange juice is a bit in cocktails for me. It kind of overpowers and at the same time is a bit flat, whereas lemon juice and lime juice kind of brighten cocktails. I'm not a huge fan of lemon juice, but syrup and a garnish, I can see it. Thank you, Angel Never Dies. I am glad you find the cocktail videos fun. I find them fun to do. I was looking up popular cocktails to do short videos for, and I saw one that I think I'm going to make a video in the next week where I'm essentially picking a fight, namely anyone who thinks vodka sour is a good idea. I love questions. Angel Never Dies. Please throw forth a question. I am very, very, very much happy to receive and try to answer questions. Oh man, that's fucking good. Yum. Okay, if I was going to make a vodka mixed drink cheap, limited amount of mixing. Okay, where I think vodka can be helpful is as a base because it can absorb that. Angel, and I get that English isn't your first language, but you're doing really fucking well. Where I think vodka comes into its own is as a base to absorb flavor of something else. And where I think you can make something really interesting is with citrus peel in vodka. You leave it for however long you're patient enough to leave it, a week, a couple of weeks, and it will absorb a bit of color and a bit of flavor. And again, it's not so much orange juice flavor that it picks up, but it's that wonderful citrus oil that it absorbs. Um, uh, you can mess around, and I've done it in the past. Yeah, sugar like candy. Rock candy is fucking great. Will dissolve. If you find a rock candy that's a flavor you like, dissolve that in vodka. So my thing is vodka on its own is boring as fuck, but you can use it as a base. And I mean, if you want to get really creative, do herbs. And I've done that in the past. I've made herb-based drinks. Yeah. Okay. So, Angel. Okay. And in fact, even look this up on my cocktail channel, Oleo Saccharum. Here's what I'd recommend you make. There's a type of syrup you make. Peel your lemons. Okay. So you got all your lemon peel. Whether it's one lemon or a whole bunch of lemons, peel it, weigh that, and then put that in a bowl and cover it in twice its weight in sugar. So if you had 100 grams of lemon peel, cover it in 200 grams of sugar. And like you use caster sugar. It's easier if you use like a fine sugar like caster sugar. And over a day or so, the sugar will absorb the oils from the peel and turn into a syrup. And then to fully liquefy it, you maybe want to add a little bit, and just a little bit of water. So either put the whole thing in a saucepan and put it on a low heat and put a bit of water in it, and that will dissolve all the sugar, or just boil some water and put it in there, just a little bit, just enough to liquefy the sugar completely, and then strain that, and you have this killer fucking syrup that's absorbed the citrus oils, and it just tastes fantastic. But then the peels, which will have gone a bit funny in that, put the peels in vodka for a week or two, because the vodka will absorb both a bit of sugar and a bit of the citrus flavor, and you'll have a really interesting flavored vodka then. So that's my suggestion. You got to put to flavor the vodka, you got to be patient enough to leave it for a week or two. But the syrup takes a day or maybe two. So yeah, sour lemon taste. It's the syrup that you get by covering the lemon peel in sugar is just, it's so good. And then you get to double purpose the peels when you've strained the syrup off, and you just use that in whatever, in cocktails, just mixed drinks. For reals, I've put it on pancakes, on ice cream. It's great. But then, yeah, you take those peels, don't rinse them off or anything, put them in vodka for a week or two, and it's going to flavor the vodka and make it way more interesting. And yes, also if the higher proof the alcohol you use, the more it's going to suck flavor out of the peels. Because I know I did it. I've done it with vodka, and I've done it with other spirits, and I've done it with Polish rectified spirit that was 93% alcohol. That shit just sucks the flavor out of whatever you put in there. So the higher the proof alcohol, the more it kind of sucks the flavor out. But even just your standard 40% vodka. But yeah, I'm a big believer. Look, if you're going to drink vodka, get a good one, because the cheap ones are terrible and they just taste and smell like paint stripper. I found a couple of good local vodkas that aren't very expensive. I think like Smirnoff is shit. Absolute is kind of shit. Crystal Head vodka I like. But yeah, But you sound like you know what you mean. You get a better quality vodka. But yeah, that whole thing of getting a citrus flavored vodka and then a nice citrus syrup, you can make some fun drinks with that. I mean, even just a highball. Like if you did what I said, made that syrup and then used the peel to flavor a vodka, and you just did like vodka, a little bit of syrup, and soda or club soda, lemonade, whatever you want to call it. That would be a pretty nice drink. Yeah, Smirnoff's kind of shit. It kind of has that nail polish paint stripper flavor, as far as I'm concerned. I think some people like it, but yeah, I've found a couple of local vodkas that I think are really good and don't cost that much. You know, it's down to what you're. I'm kind of okay. It's 9 o'clock. I'm going to share with you all. I've had this weird thing. I was in bed last night, and I got this horrible, horrible pain in my shin that I've never had before. It like literally felt like someone had a magnifying glass focusing the burning point on my shin and was burning me. And I mean, like, I screamed in pain. It hurt so badly. And of course, unfortunately, that meant I woke Mrs. Angry up. That's about an hour after I went to bed. And so the other explanation would have been if like some nasty wasp or something stung me, but we checked the bed. Not only were there not any creepy crawlies in the bed, there was no mark on my shin. There was no bite. There was no bruise. There was no nothing. So it's some weird fucking nerve misfiring in my shin. But I was so awake at that point from this pain. I thought, I'm definitely not sleeping now, and I'll just disturb Mrs. Angry. So I went out on the lounge. I watched some TV. I watched some YouTube. And at about 3 a.m., I decided 3 to 3:30 a.m. I decided I was tired enough to sleep, and I slept on the lounge. And then, because it was a work day, my alarm went off at 7, so I got about 3 hours sleep, and I felt fucked. And I signed on this, and I just told the people I was working with what had happened, and I'm fucked. And I actually went back to bed for a couple of hours, and then I got up at 10, and I was so much better. So I'm actually really surprised. 9 o'clock, I'm still going. So, but the pain thing happened in bed. Then it happened about an hour. The second time was about an hour after the first one. And then I think it was pre-lunch today. It happened again. And it's like, I freaked out everyone in the house because it hurt so. And it's seriously like someone stabbing me with a hot knife. Like they either got a piece of wire or a knife and put it on a blowtorch till it was red hot, and then stabbed me in the shin with it. And the 3 times it happened, the pain was in exactly the same spot. And there's no sign there. There's no bruise. There's no bite. Like, I'm feeling it now. I can't feel anything. But again, okay, it hasn't happened for a while. I'm going to see a doctor about it tomorrow, okay? Because it's fucking weird. There's a non-zero chance that it might happen again before the end of the stream. So I might randomly start screaming in pain because, I mean, this shit fucking hurts. Yeah, no, Google says cancer. No, dude, okay, where my brain worked, it's a blood clot in my leg that's going to move and go to either my lungs, heart, or brain and kill me. Mrs. Angry says, it's probably not that. It sounds like nerve pain. So it's like, for whatever reason, a nerve in my shin is misfiring. Yeah, it's like there's no lump, there's no bite. It's not even sore. Like if I poke the area where the pain happened, it doesn't hurt. I can't. This shit has literally never happened in my life. So you get to my age and you get a sudden new pain, you pay attention to this shit. Oh, that's an interesting one, Mega Leech. Medical term, burning pain in the thigh, paresthesia, burning pain. It feels like it's a nerve sending a false image, a false message. Angel Never Dies. Depends if you're feeling it, if it's like skin or deep. it's kind of surface level. It's not really deep. But like I said, it felt like either someone burning me with a magnifying glass or stabbing me with a knife or a piece of wire that's been heated in a blowtorch. Or, like a really fucking nasty wasp stung me. That's always described as a horrible burning pain. But there's nothing there. There's nothing there. Oh, there you go. See, that kind of sounds like what I've got. Nerve that provides sensation to the skin is compressed, referred to as Bernholt-Roth syndrome. It sounds like that. You don't know skin level. Look, it'll be interesting. I'm going to a doctor tomorrow, and it's going to be interesting to what they say. Because what they say is going to be somewhere on the spectrum of that's fucking weird. I've got no idea what that is. Or, oh, that sounds exactly like this, which is probably this, which we can treat like this. And there's a whole sliding scale of things it could be between those two. So we'll see. But yeah, I'm not one of those guys who actually, for restraint, I am to a reasonable extent one of those guys who went, no, I don't want to go to a doctor and do that stuff because they'll just tell me something bad. I don't want to hear it. But this was so extreme and so new. I thought, yeah, I need to have a doctor. I need to consult with a doctor and see what they think the fuck this is. Yeah. So Megalici's having some Google fun. Peripheral artery disease, sharp shooting leg pain. No, it wasn't that. Doesn't get worse climbing stairs. No, yeah. See, here's the thing. You're saying other symptoms: numbness, aching, heaviness. No, I was worried about: is there any numbness? Is it anywhere else? Like, am I having a fucking stroke? Is one side of me weak? And no, it's like there were no other corollary symptoms. Oh dear. So I was very oofed. I was just very about the whole thing. And so yeah, the one apparently okay, like I woke Mrs. Angry up with screaming in the bed. Then I went on the lounge and it happened again. Apparently no one heard that. I had the door closed. But today it hit me and it lasts for a while, like the horrible sharp pain lasted for like 30 to 60 seconds. And I was trying, but I couldn't suppress the screams. Like, it is among the worst pain I have felt in my life. And it was really focused on this tiny area on my shin. And fuck me, it hurt. And so, yeah, everyone in the house was really worried about me. And I was like, yeah, no, it's actually pretty bad. And I don't know what it is, but it's over now. Angel Never Dies, it's your life. Oh, do you work in medicine? That sounds like you're saying you work in medicine in some degree. It makes sense or never seen it before. Or is that just a general thing with life? Is it 9? Oh, God, I kind of think, you know what? I feel like I might make an old-fashioned with the... Might help me sleep. That's a bad way to look at things. Okay, so I got this special Bundaberg rum. Yeah, no. Does AZ have a voodoo doll of me in the afterlife? Because that was the other thing I thought, that it was like someone had a voodoo doll and was sticking the pin in my shin. So Angel, oh gosh, you got leukemia when you were 12, still dealing with it. Yeah. Oh, wowzers. Yeah, because you get very, very serious treatments for that, which you can, the offshoots of which you can do with your life. So Bundaberg Blenders Edition in a neat square bottle. I remember seeing this British guy on YouTube who was specializing in rums, and he was very excited that he finally got a hold of Bundaberg rum, which is like the shittest rum. And it was like it was a big deal that he got it. And I was going, no, that Bundaberg rum is like Jack Daniel's bourbon. In that, yep, it's a bourbon, and it's made by people who know how to make bourbon. but it's not very special. And in fact, that same distiller bottles other bourbons that are a much better quality. Same as Bundaberg rum. Their bog standard one is Jesus. It's bog standard, but they make some special ones, and this was on special. Oh, Angel. Okay, big question. Okay, that question makes me ask questions. You want to get an expensive whiskey? What would it be? The different whiskies are such different styles. And I have a preference for Australian whiskies, which you probably can't get and would be stupid expensive if you could. Like American bourbons and ryes, very different from like Scotch whiskies and Irish whiskies. I'd look, here's the thing, you're more into sweet or Irish. So I would lean towards find either a good Irish single malt or a Japanese. For where you're in the world, I think your best options might be a good Irish single malt or a Japanese whiskey. Japanese whiskeys have just a huge rep. I was trying to remember what's the one that people said. Trying to remember. A lot of people have. What the fuck? This is just fucking. Oh, that's such bullshit. Sorry. All right. Sorry, this link might be better. Oh, yes. Okay. The one that I've seen people talk about the most is the Redbreast 15-year-old. So I'll throw that out there. If you've liked Irish and the sweeter, from people who are mad into it, the one I've heard the most is the Redbreast 15-year-old. So, and that's from people who know their shit. So that's not my recommendation. That's the recommendation I've seen multiple times from people who really know their shit. The Redbreast 15-year-old has rave reviews. But like I said, if you wanted to get a bit out there, find a good Japanese single malt. If you were in Australia, I have a pretty solid list of local whiskies that kick ass. I had to fill out a new patient form for this doctor I'm going to tomorrow. How much alcohol do you drink? Well, that's personal. It's a very personal question you're asking. Yes. I mean, you said expensive, so single malt. But yeah, Redbreast is the Irish. If you can find it, and because if you want to lash out from, and that's not so much my recommendation as the recommendation I've seen from people who know their shit, particularly the 15-year-old Redbreast. If you want to treat yourself, that's the one to go for. And okay, in case you're unfamiliar with the term, all single malt means, and I think Kirsten's still here, so she can correct me if I can get this wrong. Single malt means the whiskey is all produced by the one distillery. So a single malt can still be a blend of whiskies, and usually is a blend of whiskies, but the whiskies were all made in the same distillery. So when you see something that's called a blended whiskey, that means they've actually sourced whiskies from multiple distilleries and put together a blend. What you do find sometimes these days is single barrel whiskies. That's when they've matured one barrel and they've bottled stuff straight from that barrel, so it's not blended with any other barrels. Angel never does. Yeah, I think there are rules about what grain it is, etc., etc. But the base thing is a single malt is all made by the same distillery. A wild turkey, again. See, Safa, wild turkey have a whole spectrum of whiskies. If you want a wild turkey that is regularly recommended by whiskey people, it's the slightly higher proof one, Wild Turkey 101, because your standard wild turkeys are like 40% alcohol, which is your like base level for whiskeys. 101 is 101 proof, which is 50.5%. You'll get a lot of whiskey heads recommending the Wild Turkey 101. It's more expensive than the base Wild Turkey, but you know. And again, the base Wild Turkey, it's not terrible. So you got to. Oh, XO, so extra old. I think extra old means it's been aged for more than 5 years. There are 3 rankings for brandies. There's just standard brandy, and then there's VS, very special, which I think has been aged for 2 years. There's VSOP, very special old pale, which is 3 or 4 years. And then there's extra old, XO, which is more than 5 years. Although, again, as I just ramble, we're on the internet, so I can look it up. Okay. Okay, so different cognacs. VS is aged more than... So there's standard brandies, and that means they've been aged less than 2 years. VS is aged, which is very special, aged more than 2 years. Scroll. They're trying to get me to... VSOP, very special old pale, aged 4 or more years. Scroll through all the things they're trying to sell me. XO. Extra old is 10 years. Okay. I didn't know extra old was more than 10 years. I had an XO from Costco, actually. Okay, then there's okay. I've never seen this. XXO, extra old, 14 years. Napoleon cognac. All right, so that's a subset. It's aged more than 6 years. Now, this is interesting. I haven't seen all these classifications before. Reserve, 25 years. Oh, aged for an average of 25 years. So that's a blended cognac. And the average is 25 years. Okay. Hors d'Age. So that's aged over 30 years. Never heard that. The most common ones you'll get are VS, which is aged 2 years, VSOP, which is more than 4 years, and XO, which is more than 10 years. Angel never does. I also think cognac is overstated as well. That's from the cognac region of France and blah, 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 blah. It's like champagne. It's like there are better sparkling wines than champagne. There are better brandies than cognac. Having said that, there are very good cognacs, but there are very good brandies that aren't cognac. And of course, there's another French one, Armagnac, which is just from the Armagnac region of Spain. And then there's, oh man, I got this 5-year aged apple brandy from France, Calvados. Holy shit, it's good. It's so good. Okay. So I made an old fashioned with this. Oh, it's got a really sharp laid on the palate. Okay, the El Dorado makes a way better old fashioned. I have to work out what this is best in. I will work it out. It's not bad, but it's got a really sharp aftertaste, which is less than completely pleasant. Whereas the El Dorado just made an absolutely kick-ass, close to flawless old fashioned. Yes, Angel of the Ice, big call. Why are you drinking? Are you drinking to enjoy the taste of the thing you are drinking? Or are you just drinking to get drunk? Which at which point, like I was saying, that's when you do the cheap Bundaberg rum rather than this one. You do a cheap brandy rather than a cognac. Do a cheap beer rather than a better quality beer. You know, the whole thing. I do like, I got glasses from a bar in Melbourne, which was like one of my favorite bars, and it closed down, unfortunately. But it's this unique sort of glass that they had that you don't usually see. And it's got etched on the rim of it, drink less, drink better. That's why I like cocktails, because you can most definitely get shit-faced on them, but good cocktails are an experience, and they're more than one thing. I think that's the difference for me between a good or extremely good cocktail and just an average one. An average one, you like drink it and go, yeah, that's okay. There's nothing. But a really good cocktail, it's more than one thing. As you taste it, there's an initial taste, and then you get something else, and then there's something else that lingers. A good cocktail is complex and changes as you drink it, which I quite like. Okay, so you're back on the crack whiskey. Tastes good to get drunk on, and you have a high alcohol tolerance. Yeah, I mean, that's where you make your own brews, I guess. Like that thing I was suggesting before with the citrus peel. But yes, I'm okay. So this is not so much an old-fashioned. So how do they describe this? Bundaberg Blenders Edition, unmistakably complex rum. 2015 release, blended with 2016 double gold. All right. With our 2015 release being voted world's best, we decided you can't beat perfection, and our blending team crafted Blenders Edition using the same secret blend recipe that ensured the 2015 release was deemed truly world-class. Handcrafted by blending the finest Bundaberg rum, matured in port and sherry barrels, layered with delicate hints of raisin and spice, long, remarkably smooth finish, perfectly served neat over ice. Of those four, like, again, this is by no means a bad rum, but I did that 4 side by side. This one came in 4th. Oh, Angel, I did not know a side effect of chemo, higher alcohol tolerance. There you go. And hello, Justin, as well. Yeah, I have to find the right cocktail for this. I'll put a bit of work into it. Yeah, it's got this sharp aftertaste. It's like I was recently thinking, I don't have enough different rums, and now I do. So might actually fit. There's a couple that only have a little bit in them. And I might finish those or use them in a barrel cocktail. I don't know. Sorry, I remember we were talking about that, Justin. Should you join the stream from a flight, but the flight will be before the stream? Doe. Well, but yes, like I said when you first brought it up, I feel like the airlines don't like that. But someone has actually done it before, joined the stream from a flight. What a world we live in, eh? Where you can get internet on an aeroplane. My God. Oh, now see, okay, their wording has gotten to me because there's a reference in here to raisins. And I was just tasting it there, and it's absolutely a raisin flavor. But I think when someone tells you what to expect from a drink, you end up getting that, which is why when people do blind tests, they're regularly surprised at what they like. Because without, you taste with your eyes first. You go, oh, this is X. X is like this. That's what I'm going to taste. But if you don't have that reference, it's more difficult. Central now, you can't get internet on flight to work for the life of you. I think it depends what flight you're on and where you are. But I know I've posted I actually, Christ, I haven't been on a flight for years. God, I don't even remember. Actually, I could look it up. I think the last time I was on a flight, it was to England. And that was probably somewhere between 5 and 7 years ago. Jesus, I do not fly very much. I might go to Adelaide this year. I'll talk to Mrs. Angry about that. She wants to do a weekend in Adelaide just for fun. That's only about a 1 hour flight from Melbourne. It's not very far. 1-2 hours. I don't know. I haven't done it for ages. I forget how long the flight between Melbourne and Adelaide is. But there's a few reasons I'd like to go to Adelaide. We get to visit a few people. And there's also some good distilleries there, which I'd like to visit. You used to fly to Greece every year. Now you're poor. I still think you could fly to Greece even if you're poor. I know it's so expensive to fly anywhere from Australia. And I have not traveled very much, which was probably my only big regret in my life that I didn't travel more. I still have opportunities in the future, I guess. But when I think about how different the world was in the 90s compared to what it is now, I can think of all these things. Oh, man, you missed an opportunity there. You could have traveled there before it all changed. And you missed that opportunity. So that's my advice to the young folk. If you get an opportunity to travel, do it. Because I think it improves, or at least it has the potential to improve you as a person. So for AIDS, he travelled heaps around Australia as a comic. So he certainly travelled Australia more than I have. I don't think he did a lot or possibly any international travel as a comic. Justin, the idea of someone joining on an international flight is pretty funny. You visited New York in 2001. Where have I been I've only been on the West Coast in the US, California, Vegas, baby, Vegas, and Colorado. And in California, I've been in LA, San Fran, visited San Diego once, been in San Francisco a couple times. I feel like San Francisco, at least when I was last there, and I think it's probably very different now, but when I was last there, which was more than 10 years ago, was the most like an Australian city. And I think I'm not the only one who thinks that. Sydney people think it's like Sydney. Melbourne people think it's like Melbourne. Um, I just think of the big American cities I visited. That's the one that felt most like an Australian city, because LA doesn't feel like an Australian city. Vegas doesn't feel like an Australian city. So New York doesn't feel like an Australian city. So San Francisco, at least, used to feel a bit like an Australian city, more than the other ones do. So there is that. But yes, I know. I don't know if and when I'll get to travel again. That's what I thought you were suggesting, Justin. Yeah, you were in New York a month before 9/11. Family photo with the New York skyline while the Twin Towers were still there. Oh, gosh. Kinder Egg shots. Okay, I'm intrigued as to what a Kinder Egg shot is. I kind of feel like it would be take the Kinder Egg apart and take the toy out and then put the two halves back together and then drill a hole in it and pour some booze in there and then just go and eat the whole thing. That's how I'd do a Kinder Egg shot. I don't know if that's what you're talking about or if I'm just crazy talking. Oh my God. Okay. Sorry, that just popped into my head. I'm thinking now about the YouTube bartenders do these occasional challenges for events. And we're doing one for Valentine's Day for the third year in the row. Love Potion. Hashtag Love Potion 2023. And so it's a challenge where you say, come up with a drink. It's Valentine's themed, so it has to be pink or red, which is like the Valentine's color. And you have to use a chocolate garnish. Those are basically the only rules. And I had the idea of doing a version of a Hemingway daiquiri, also known as a Papa Doble. It's basically a double-sized daiquiri, which is Papa Doble. Hemingway is known as Papa, the double. And sometimes it's known as a Hemingway special. And it's like heaps of rum, lime, sugar, and some maraschino liqueur. And I was thinking, because maraschino liqueur tends to be clear, so I was thinking do it with a rum, lime, sugar, and cherry liqueur, which would make it red or pink. And then I was thinking, so what name would I give that for Valentine's Day? As the whole thing of, what we call it with regards to a Hemingway special or a Papa Doble. And I initially thought I could call it Papa Loves You. And then I thought, that's got some weird fucking creepy undertones that I'm not sure I want to do that. So I'm actually more likely to call it, because it's sometimes known as a Hemingway special, call it Hemingway Special Valentine. Still tossing a coin though. Will I call it Papa Loves You or Hemingway's Special Valentine? So Angel Never Dies, the Kinder Egg shot is liquor 43, chocolate milk and whipped cream. God damn. I do have liquor 43. For those who don't know what that is, it's a Spanish liqueur. It's like vanilla and spices. It's quite nice. I still like the idea of having the Kinder Egg, like taking the two halves apart, taking the toy out, then sticking them back together, put it on. Yeah, and pour some liquor 43 in there. Chocolate milk. No, well, so you don't need the chocolate milk, but maybe chocolate liqueur like creme de cacao. And then the thing is, just put it in your mouth and chomp it. So it all just explodes in your mouth. Liquor 43 is great. Like the 43 part of it is they say it has 43 different herbs and spices in it, their secret recipe. But it's basically a vanilla liqueur that has notes of herbs and cooking spices. It's fucking good. It's really nice. I've got some somewhere. Oh, the liqueurs are in the next room. It's the spirits that are here. Liquor 43 is good, though. All right. Okay, that's better when it dilutes a bit, but still, this has got a sharpish aftertaste, and I have to work out the best way to use it. Bundaberg rum, established 1888. It's probably Australia's best known distilleries because all the modern distilleries only go back somewhere between 5 and 30 years, whereas the Bundaberg rum distillery has been around for a long time. Oh, it's tiny little letters. I think it's saying 1888. I'm too old to see it. But I think there's actually an older rum distillery that's not as well known as Bundaberg. I'm picturing the bottles and I'm trying to remember the name of the distillery because I've had some of their rums. They do this overproof rum, like 75% alcohol, under the name Inner Circle. Beanley, that's the name of it. The Beanley Distillery, I think, is actually an older distillery than Bundaberg. But Bundaberg probably produces at least 10 times more product than Beanley, maybe 100 times more. I don't know. Oh yeah, no. The Angel Never Dies. Liquor 43 is so versatile. You can put it in so many things. Like it's yummy vanilla sweetness. Like you can basically take any drink that says use sugar syrup, and instead of sugar syrup, use Liquor 43, and it's fucking yum. And it really lends itself to desserty drinks, things with cream and chocolate and whatnot. Super yummy. Like if it wasn't that I'd had enough to drink tonight. Going to see a doctor tomorrow. They all asked all these intrusive questions. How much alcohol do you drink? And so I did the standard thing that I think everyone does. And understated how much booze I drink by about half, because you don't want to tell a doctor how much you really drink because they get really mortified if you tell them how much you really drink. Sorry. There's a bunch of yummy flavors in my mouth from the things I've been drinking. So I drink some water and that just kind of washes all the flavors over my tongue. Nice. Easy to answer. Angel Never Dies. Highest proof alcohol. And there's a video on the Angry Aussie channel. Me and Aidsy drinking Spiritus, which is a Polish rectified spirit, which is close to the highest concentration of alcohol you can have and have something still be liquid. It's 93% alcohol. And it's so high alcohol when we thought, okay, I was using it to make infusions. We thought we have to taste it and not just knock it back, but actually taste it. And it's so high alcohol. When I put it in my mouth and held it there, you could actually feel it's sitting on my tongue, and my mouth was warm enough to vaporize it. Like you could actually feel it volatilizing on your tongue. It was like bubbling away because it was turning from a liquid to a vapor because it was such high alcohol content. It just needed to be a bit warmer and it would vaporize. That's the highest proof alcohol I've ever drunk. The highest proof alcohol that I have on the shelf at the moment is an absinthe that is 80% alcohol. Made some drinks with it quite recently. But yeah, you don't want to drink Spiritus. In America, they have equivalent grain spirit they call Everclear. You don't want to drink it because it doesn't taste good and the alcohol content is high enough to be toxic and kill you. But where it's good is you can make infusions with it, because something that's that high alcohol content will fucking suck the flavor out of things, whether it be herbs or fruit or whatever. Yeah, it's the sort of thing that will kill people. I don't think you can even legally buy spirituous in Australia anymore because there were a couple of stupid incidents that resulted in teenagers dying because some nasty piece of shit convinced someone to drink multiple shots of spirituous, which you can because it's so high proof. You can drink a toxic dose of it without getting sick because you go da, 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 and then you die. Oh, nice. So, Kirsten, with the thing, Beanley is license number 1, the oldest licensed distillery in Australia. Archie Rose in Sydney is license number 36. And of course, the last 15 years has seen an absolute explosion of distilleries getting licenses in Australia. Now there's hundreds of them. So, Angel, an importer from the hospital gave you a bottle of rubbing alcohol. Yeah, well, possibly the funniest thing to me about this Polish spirit is it said somewhere on the label, as used in hospitals. And I was like, yeah, but I think hospitals use it to disinfect, not to drink. I'm not sure that's a recommendation. So, Kirsten, what's that? About 150 years between each license being granted? Oh, so you mean 150 years between the Beanley license and the Archie Rose license? Nice. Thank you for confirming for me because I thought Beanley was the oldest distillery in Australia. Bundaberg's more successful, but Beanley make nice rums. And if someone was going to ask me to choose between Bundaberg and Beanley, I would definitely choose Beanley. Even if I wasn't going for their super high proof ones, the Inner Circle, which I think sell out all the time. Like if they do a run of them, they sell out quite quickly. But I've had Beanley White Rum, which is quite nice. I've had, I think, Beanley 5-year-old rum, which is quite nice. They do good rums, basically. Oh, yeah, and Kirsten, I don't know if you were around or particularly connected earlier when I did a taste test because I got this special Bundaberg. Dance was on special, like 20% off, and the Eldorado 15-year, which was at least 20% off. I'm like, fuck it, get some high-end rums while they're on special. And I did a blind taste test with those two and two of my established favorites, which is the Archie Rose Fancy Molasses and the Diplomatico Reserva. And I did a blind taste test, and my favorite, the Diplomatico, still... Oh, did you just realize you were 10 minutes behind? You jump forward. Okay, that's fair. So, yeah, in a blind taste test, Diplomatico, still my favorite to sip. Archie Rose Fancy Molasses did come in second. The Eldorado 15-year-old came in third. And the Blenders Edition Bundaberg came in fourth. They're all good. On a completely different note, yes, it is very sad how the overwhelming majority of manufacturing is gone from Australia. Very bad. Just an oldest drink I've had. Oof. Good question. Honestly, that Eldorado 15-year-old might be it. I've had XO cognac, which is more than 10 years. I've had Australian brandies that have been aged for 7 to 9. Honestly, that Eldorado 15-year-old might be the oldest. Oh, no. God, I was with Dr. Abigail in a whiskey. There were a couple of really good whiskey bars in Melbourne, and Elysium is one. And we went in there, and I asked them to create a tasting flight of Japanese whiskeys for me because I didn't know Japanese whiskey very well. And they did one, and I sort of shared it with Dr. Abigail, and we were like, that one's the yummiest. And it was a 12-year-old, and then I think he gave us an 18-year-old and a 30-year-old expression of it, which were very good. Then he told me after he gave it to us, like the 30-year-old goes for a couple $1,000 a bottle. So I shuddered to think I don't, this is weird. I don't know what he charged me. I don't think he charged me a lot. Ooh, Kirsten drinking a 21-year-old tawny. Nice. Justin, people keep finding stuff, like particularly wines. People find wines that are hundreds of years old, which probably taste terrible, honestly. But every now and then you get like whiskeys that are 50 years old or more. And they'll go for a fortune. And by a fortune, I mean hundreds of thousands of dollars for a barrel. An Angel, favorite spirit whiskey. I don't even have to pause to think. But probably in terms of, and I like a mix of things, but order of graduation probably goes whiskey, gin, rum, rum and brandy. Brandy might beat rum, actually. They're very close, and like of the mainstream spirits, the one I'm the least well versed in, but I do like tequila and the other agave spirits. So I know the least, and I'm the least well versed in tequila and the other agave spirits, although I do like them as well. But yeah, so it probably goes whiskey, gin, brandy, and rum very close. Then the agave spirits like tequila. Oh, Safa, a good port fucking kicks ass. Although, again, if it's Australian made, they have to call it tawny, because port can only come from Portugal, or I think possibly some regions of Spain, because of EU laws. But good Australian tawnies fucking kick ass. I've got one in the fridge, and it wasn't expensive, and it's really nice. Port, here's the thing. I am actually more like, I don't do it often, but I'm more likely to sip port or tawny or some other good quality fortified wine or aromatized wine. I'm more likely to sip that than I am a spirit. So, and in terms of which one I like, it would be a toss-up between a good port or tawny and a good vermouth. I very rarely just sip them as well, but I do sometimes. And I'm definitely more likely to just, if I was going, I'm just going to kick back and I'm just going to sip something and I'm not going to make a cocktail, it would probably be a tawny or a port that I would sip, or a vermouth. It's just the way I am. Oh yeah, Dan's sells good vermouths. You get some good quality Australian vermouths in Dan, notably Maiden Eye. I'm quite a fan of the Maiden Eye vermouths. I think I've got Maiden Eye Sweet in the fridge. And I have another Australian one that's a Blanco vermouth. Justin, well, investing in alcohol can work, because theoretically the older something is, the more expensive it is, because rarity. Again, it's not necessarily because it's better, it's because it's rarer. And so if you have a 50-year-old bottle of whiskey, it's very hard to get, so it's worth a lot, and tends to increase in value. Penfolds, Australia's highest end winemaker, arguably. Penfolds Grange Hermitage, possibly the most high value wine made in Australia. Okay, so grandfather only 360 made a year. Safa. Okay. Real talk, alcohol's poison. Okay. The reason it makes us feel the way it is, it's a poison. If a medical authority wants to say there is no safe level of alcohol consumption, I'm going to go, yeah, fair cop, fair enough. But you know what else? There is no safe level of living in a city and breathing the pollution in. That's real. And again, okay, you can't avoid breathing. You could avoid drinking alcohol. But, I'm just like, I feel like I don't have any illusions. I know alcohol's a poison. Uh, I think it is a reasonably rational thing to say that there's no safe level of alcohol consumption because you're drinking a poison. And it's like, fair enough. Drinking alcohol introduces health risks that don't exist if you don't drink alcohol. But you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to do it anyway. So, Angel, alcohol's the biggest substance. Oh, yeah. It's like... I made a joke with a friend once where he said, like, as some anthropologists kind of talk about, it's a complex human or human-like society when they develop some form of alcohol. And I went, yep. At a certain point, your brain gets developed enough that you want to fuck your brain up. And I've talked about these observations in streams before, that there is a popular theory that humans saw animals eat things, fermented fruit, and they acted funny. So then the humans did it and felt funny, and they found out a way to do it on purpose. They saw animals eat coffee beans and start pinging around, so they did it. And so we got coffee and various hallucinogens as well. It's a reasonable theory that as humans started to cultivate livestock, they saw the livestock eat certain things and then act in a certain way, and they went, well, I wonder what that's about. They tried it themselves. Oh, Suffolk, Jesus Christ, the air in Melbourne is so much worse than where you live. And again, that's not even conjecture. The big city air is fucking killing you. There's no two ways about it. But I don't want to live in the middle of nowhere with nice, clean air. It's just a choice I make, which means, at any given moment, I could, be diagnosed with something dire that means, I'm going to suffer because of it. But it's the human condition, as far as I'm concerned. Oh, Jesus, Suffer Dubbo air is so much better than Sydney. Again, the big cities, the bigger the city, the more the air is killing you. It's just full of particulates and carcinogens, and it's just fucking killing you. But even in Dubbo, like, I had friends who lived just out of town. I remember particularly visiting one people. They were on a bit of a rise on their farm. And when we left, we're on the highway, you could kind of look down. Dubbo was a bit lower, and you could actually see, even just in this country town of Dubbo, you could see there was a smoke haze about the town. Now, Sydney is 1,000 times worse. And yes, I've definitely no acid rain. Angel, there's another saying, yes, the worst thing you can do to your health is living. Yeah. Modern human existence. Oh, yes, Kirsten, you've moved to a country area of Adelaide. I bet the air is fucking great, especially considering your most recent air was Sydney. Ooh. Newcastle's probably worse, but Jesus. Safa, yes. Young people definitely shouldn't drink alcohol. Oh, no. Okay, Justin, sorry, I misread what you said. Okay. I know medical authorities disagree with you. I tend to side with the medical authorities. The child and teenage brain is not fully developed and using too much alcohol can impair the development of the teenage brain. Adults can fucking deaden and poison their brains, but teenagers can stop their brain from ever developing properly. So yes, I side with the medical authorities on that. That like your brain's not fully developed till, I don't know, your early mid-20s is the current thinking, and damaging it with alcohol before full development has the potential to do terrible damage to you. So I think that's legit myself. It's like me saying it's legit doesn't really count for shit. People who know a lot more than me say it's legit. But look, I think some of the talk about alcohol may be overblown, maybe a bit of moral panic type thing. The funniest one I've heard was like when I feel like people only started talking about fetal alcohol syndrome in the 90s. The idea that pregnant women drinking alcohol caused brain damage to their unborn children. And again, I think it's there are a few people who disagree that it would be better if a pregnant woman did not drink alcohol at all. But I do remember someone putting it quite humorously that the danger of the fetal alcohol syndrome studies is the amount of alcohol that people drank when they were pregnant was self-reported. And so it was kind of like, your baby was born with their brain had been adversely affected by your alcohol consumption. How much alcohol did you drink? And the birthing person goes, I never drank 1 or 2 drinks. And so there was the conclusion, 1 or 2 drinks causes alcohol fetal. That there are points of view that says to adversely affect the development of a baby, you have to drink an actual shit ton of alcohol. And the studies that said a small amount of alcohol could adversely affect the development of a baby were based on the parent self-reporting, and they were under pressure. So they significantly understated the amount of alcohol they drank. So Justin, yeah, okay, you had a lecturer who differed in view. People differ in views. I am absolutely not an expert in this area, but someone, even an educated person with an opinion, I start to think of the old saying, opinions are like assholes. Everyone's got one. Some stink more than others. So, the fact that you had a lecturer who had a differing view is not conclusive one way or the other. Again, I really want to stress, not an expert in these areas. So I would absolutely be open to hearing from anyone who said anything from any degree. And I would ask questions like, what are you basing this on? What sort of study was there? What was the methodology? Has anyone been able to reproduce the results of your study? If it was just a gut feel, then no matter how intelligent or educated the person is, their gut feel is kind of worth shit. You need to be able to measure it. But again, not my area of expertise, so I'd always be willing to listen to. So, Kirsten, there's a new Prego symbol coming to effect in August. Oh, sorry. You like this shirt? This is from the most recent ones I purchased, which was a little while ago. But yeah, and I got it because it's quite different. You got like a martini glass with a cherry in it. So it's like mostly black and white with these little bits of color. There's like a strawberry there. Very nice design. This is from the most recent ones I purchased. So yeah, you may not have seen it on the stream because I've got like 40 of these cocktail shirts now. So the rotation, I only wear them, only wear these once every month and a half. And it doesn't necessarily coincide with a live stream. So yeah, I like this one too, Safa. And I did an online meeting at work today with the camera on, and the other people complimented the shirt. They like, because I wear my cocktail shirts into the office. I'm like, fuck it, man. I'd rather be working from home. You're going to make me go to the office? I'm wearing one of my cocktail shirts. So everyone likes that I'm wearing these bright shirts. So that's me. I'm the bright shirt guy. Anyway, so I think I will go to bed. Gonna eat my cherry. And these like sourdough cherries. So much better than the other cherries. Like this little jar, depending where you get it, it's about $20, a bit more maybe. Really decadent. Really fucking decadent to buy this little jar of cherries for $20. But I'm like, fuck it, man. Gonna be dead a long time. Want to get things that make me happy. In the meantime, those cherries make me happy. So I'm going to get them. But I am going to go sleep. I'm really amazed I made it because I'm not fucking around. I slept for about 3 hours last night because of these ridiculous pains in my shin. And then I went back to bed for a couple of hours, which really helped. And it didn't come back during the stream. I thought it was actually possible the thing might happen again. And I'd end up like staggering around screaming. Didn't happen, which is good. Justin, I am 100% sure no one under 18 is allowed to drink in a licensed venue. In your own home is a different thing. Licensed venues, no. But again, not an expert. Someone might contradict me there. I'm going to go to bed and we'll see what happens. Ooh, party night tomorrow night. Let's see what happens. I feel like I'm going to sleep really solidly tonight unless this fucking pain comes back. I don't know. We will see what happens. All things being equal, be up for a party night tomorrow night. Won't be streaming on Saturday night. Mrs. Anger and I are going to a whiskey bar on Saturday night. Really good venue. The guys there again, I love it. Most of the staff are probably under 25. They have a great cocktail menu. The guy behind the bar who does the cocktail menu, he's very young, certainly under 30, maybe under 25. But the guys who own the place are like contemporaries of Mrs. Anger and I. They're about our age. So it's fun catching up with them and talking with them. So we're doing that on Saturday night. So you won't see me on Saturday night, but you will see me. Unless something super fucking weird happens tomorrow, you will see me tomorrow night. But we'll see how that goes. So what's that saying? Yeah, live a lot longer, you're going to be dead. Yeah, I mean, you're dead a long time. So live life to the fullest in the meantime. I will see you all later and say